Annette, welcome to the International Speakers meeting of the Hispanic community. And whenever you're ready to share your experience, strength, and hope, we're ready.
Gracias. Thank you so much. I just got emotional. Just give me a sec. My name's Annette, and I'm a compulsive overeater, and I weigh and measure 3 meals a day from the GreySheet. I commit them to my sponsor. I don't eat in between no matter what, and abstinence is the most important thing in my life without exception, and I'm abstinent and grateful. And all my life, I've been kind of an emotional person anyway, and I have tried to love and embrace that about me. Sometimes I think, oh, I wish I wasn't that way, but it's who I am. And a little bit ago, just while we were talking before the meeting, I took a deep breath and asked my higher power to guide my words. And speak from my heart. And as soon as I said that, please help me speak from my heart, I got emotional. So once I get emotional, I get a little teary, and now I'm probably going to sniffle through the whole thing. But just trust me, they're tears of gratitude. And the gratitude today comes from all the effort that this Hispanic community has put into GreySheet, has put into sharing the message that there's recovery from compulsive overeating throughout worldwide, all the Hispanic community, and what it's done not just for the Hispanic community and Spanish-speaking members or people that are still suffering, but how it's infiltrated. Also, I keep reminding myself to speak slow, how it's infiltrated into translating this message into, French and Icelandic and, German and all the languages. It's just yesterday and in the last 2 days in our birthday, 25th GreySheet anniversary celebrations that this community created, and you had such enthusiasm and so much talent. I can't believe the talent, and I just see brainiacs up there on the top row. I could never even comprehend being able to do what you're doing. It makes me so it just makes me feel emotional, because I started my life, my first memories at the age of 5, and I was a chubby little girl. And, a chubby little 5-year-old with 3 older siblings that my nickname, they called me Fatty and made fun of me all the time. And so I grew up in my first memories. I don't remember before that. And so my first memories are of feeling shame. And I grew up with shame permeating my whole being, my whole life. And the first relief I got from that was after I started weighing and measuring 1 day of GreySheet abstinence. There was some relief and some self-respect. Just little seed of self-respect started to grow, and I was amazed to be in my kitchen and to think to myself, I'm a liar and a cheat. I pretend I'm abstinent. I was in OA How, I should say, for 10 years before GreySheet, and I was supposed to be weighing and measuring, and I was in constant relapse. I was, and my sponsor at the time, who passed away towards the end, actually, would co-sign that. She would try to, like when I would relapse in maintenance, she would say, well, you ate that, but we could consider that, she would make excuses for me and try to figure out a loophole so that I didn't have to start my day one over again. And you know, so how as much work as I did there wasn't enough for me. I, you know, gratefully the 10 years in OA, how put me in a position. I was sitting in an OA how meeting when somebody from GreySheet moved to the West Coast, because I'm from Oregon, USA. They came to the West Coast from New York, a New Yorker, she'd been abstinent for 9 years. And she came to my OA how meeting where I was at an all-time high weight. And she said the mantra. And I was sitting there feeling like I was just draining the meeting of all positive energy. I felt horrible because I couldn't stay abstinent in that program. And she came and said the mantra, the GreySheet mantra, and that she had been doing this she was a couple weeks short of 9 years. And I was just, my heart started racing and beating. And I thought, oh my gosh, there's something else. And just the way she said it, she was beautiful, intimidating. She was on fire with GreySheet, fiercely abstinent and beautiful. And I thought, here's the little 5-year-old with no self-esteem. I'm like, I can't do that, you know. But there was this glimmer, there was this tiny little light, like, what if I could do that? And I talked to her after the meeting, and I said, you know, I was asking her questions, and I asked her to be my sponsor immediately. I didn't even question it. And she didn't say yes. And we always laugh about this today. She's been my sponsor for 24 years, but we laugh because normally in GreySheet, we say yes, right? Don't we want to sponsor people right away? But there was something about that because I've been in OA how 10 years, mind you, I relapsed all the time. I've been in OA how, and I had an attitude of, I got this. I had so much ego in it. I said, oh yeah, I can do that. I know how to win measure. You know, she was telling me what we do in GreySheet, and I just had an attitude of like, I can, you know, if I could do it so well, why was I in constant relapse? You have to ask yourself that. And, you know, I didn't have anything other than misery. And I think she saw that and thought she probably wanted to run away screaming. She doesn't say that, but she didn't say she would sponsor me. What she told me is, I want you to go home and read the front and back. Well, no, she didn't even give me a GreySheet that yet. She wanted me, how did we do that? Now it's details. I think she had me sit and read the front and back of it and think about it and to call her. And so we talked back and forth, and it was the third time I saw her. She came to my meeting 3 weeks in a row, my OA how meeting. And bless her heart, you know, because there was no GreySheet over on the West Coast. In Oregon, there wasn't. So she finally said yes. And by that time, I was so desperate because I went away from that first meeting with her thinking she's not going to sponsor me. And this is something that might save my life. Maybe this is it, you know. When my heart races like that and it thuds, you know, thud, I know that there was a reason for that. And I felt so desperate. And I think that feeling of desperation for her not to say yes right away, I needed that. I needed to get even more desperate than I already was and lose my ego and lose I got this attitude like this, oh, peace, you know, this is easy, I can do this. No, I needed every minute of whatever, however long it took her to say yes to me to start and be willing to do GreySheet. So she was new to the West Coast and I got abstinent. I committed my first meal. And when she finally said she would do it, we were in the same meeting, a couple of weeks later. And she said, okay, commit your first meal to me. And then all of a sudden I'm just thinking, oh my God, what if I can't do it? She'll I can't let this woman down. She's amazing. And I have to do this perfectly. And I didn't think I could go for 5 minutes without eating between a meal. I hadn't done it for a long time. And so I wrote down my food, I committed it, and it was going to be lunch. And I went home and I did it. I went between lunch, I ate lunch, and then I was abstinent until dinner, and I ate what I committed at dinner. And then I did it, and I kept thinking every single meal, if I did it one meal, I can do it to the next meal. And then one day I can do it to the next day. And then, next thing I knew, I had 2 days, and I couldn't believe it. And I did that every single day for the first 30 days. And in there, within a few days, I was realizing, oh my gosh, I'm not doing this. My higher power is doing this. And what I would do is commit my food to my sponsor, my food, my will, and my life to the care of my sponsor. And she was like a higher power with skin on her. And I tried not to put her on a pedestal. I knew that wasn't a good thing to do, but she was just a conduit. She was between me and my higher power. She was she told me that she was just somebody to guide me and show me and sponsor me like her sponsor sponsored her, and just to do what she did. And this is what we all do, no matter what. And some of my hardest lessons were learning how to tell my people that I worked with, no, I can't eat that. No, I can't go out to lunch, or I'm going to weigh and measure my lunch at a business meeting and things like that. Those kinds of things were more of a struggle because I worried too much what people thought of me. And are they going to think I'm some kind of weirdo doing whatever? And I would think of my sponsor who weighed and measured in job interviews with 6 executives, or she was a professor at a college, and she was just this amazing dynamic person. And I would think, she's weighing and measuring, I can do this too. I would let go of what I would just put on blinders and not think about what other people were, if they were looking at me or judging me. I would just take a deep breath and let it go. And, that's what the early days were like. It got easier. I started losing weight, and I couldn't believe it. But it's so funny because for us, a lot of us in GreySheet, we lose the weight, but the weight isn't the issue anymore. It's like my whole life, I thought it was the weight, being fat was miserable. I didn't even describe that. I probably don't need to, because you all maybe understand, unless you're anorexic, but I just, I felt like I couldn't even be a good mom because I was so preoccupied with myself all the time. How do I look? And I was always judging myself harshly and saying cruel things to myself all the time, because I was sure that that's what you were thinking about me, that I'm fat, ugly, stupid, all the negative things. And I learned in GreySheet over time, through doing step work and showing up at meetings, doing AWOLs, working with my sponsor, and learning that we don't treat ourselves like that we get to eat like queens. We get to treat ourselves with love and kindness and self-respect. And things like this don't happen overnight, and I'm not perfect at it yet. I'm still a work in progress. I still sometimes have negative thoughts, but I instantly remember, oh yeah, we don't have to treat ourselves like that. I can treat myself with love and and when I do that, I'm less self-centered, thinking about me, and I can think about what can I contribute to the meeting, to my family, what can I do for my community, and I can be a loving partner. And my story is, I mean, it's kind of boring really, but it's long. It's like I've been in GreySheet. Oh, I didn't even say my abstinence date. So I've been in GreySheet since March 9th, 1999. That's the day I committed my first meal. And on January 19th, 2016, I relapsed. I ate something that wasn't on the GreySheet. I gobbled it down really fast. And then I'm just like, oh my God. And it was a horrible experience. And sometimes I think I've shared about it. There's probably recordings about that, but that's the whole story. So my abstinence date is January 20th, 2016. And I've never left. And it was like I told my sponsor the next night, I spent a day in this horrible hell. And I told her what I did. So my abstinence date's January 20, 2016. And I was in GreySheet. I married someone and divorced in GreySheet. And then, I married him just before GreySheet. And once I was in GreySheet, I realized that I had married someone just because he was a nice guy. And I felt like I had nothing. I should never have married him, but I had no self-esteem. And he basically just everybody talked me into it. They said, you should marry him. He loves you so much. And so I did. And so that marriage lasted. Once I got abstinent and could see the truth about my situation and realized that we should always have been friends, we got divorced. And I met my current wife, Darcy, and we've been together for 22 years. And when I was 8 years abstinent, she realized that, well, she'd always been said she was a compulsive eater, and she went to every GreySheet meeting with me from the moment we met. And we got married a year after we met, and she was my constant companion in GreySheet and supported me in GreySheet. And on, July 30th, 2009, she got abstinent. So I have had the pleasure of having an abstinent partner for all these years with Darcy. And it's just, she's shaking her head. I shouldn't tell her story. But the thing is I am just so blessed. And I have people in my life that are so loving and supportive. And I forgot to say this way back when, but one thing about GreySheet is that it teaches us assertiveness. And for somebody that has no self-esteem, when I always would doubt myself and put myself down. And so to be assertive for me almost feels like I'm being aggressive, but just to think of myself less, but think of myself in a loving way, but not in an egotistic way, with the kind of humility that Bill Wilson talks about, in As Bill Sees It and in the daily reflections. And my goal this year as in my recovery program is to get to know myself, my true self, like it talked about in daily reflections a couple of days ago, and to really be able to face who I am and work a little deeper on character defects and releasing them and allowing God to remove them, and the willingness to just get to know myself. Every year at the beginning of the year, I set an intention, and my intention this year has been, I've done so many AWOLs. I think I've done 8 or 9, and I've led quite a few. And those I totally encourage AWOLs where you work with a group of people and we delve into the steps and go through them together with people that are safe and people that we trust. And, you know, the most growth has come from doing AWOLs with people and allowing them to see the real me, into me see, you know, they can be very intimate. And so, you know, I have the willingness to, I'm trying to have the courage to look at the real me, because a lot of the character defects I have are ego-based, you know, like the people pleasing and wanting people to like me and feelings of insecurity and all that. You know, to me, what I've learned through the step works with my sponsor is that that's about it's self-centered thinking. And even if I'm thinking about what you're thinking about me instead of, and so that's, it actually filters back to, I'm just still thinking about me instead of trying to be useful to other people. And you know, I see how that's hurting me and the people around me. I can't be as present. And so I'm grateful for the awareness. I don't expect to be perfect overnight, but I am a work in progress, and I am able to notice things quicker. You know, I notice, oh, why am I uncomfortable right now? And what's going on? Why do I, you know, why am I feeling defensive? Or why do, you know, like on the tip of my tongue is a sarcastic remark or something that's not very nice. And it's like, what's that about? You know, just to be able to stop and pause when I have that feeling of agitation or doubt, self-doubt, and ask my higher power to remove it, help me not say something that's mean, or to say what I mean, and be true to myself, but also to be kind. You know, does something need to be said? To think before I speak. And, you know, is this necessary? Is it kind? Is it honest? And all that, you know, that acronym THINK. I learned that in Al-Anon. I'm also a member of Al-Anon and Alcoholics Anonymous. So I'm grateful for the recovery that I have. And I'm grateful that, you know, I don't expect to ever get there and get perfect. I just, but I do want to be authentic and to trust my higher power that I'm where I'm supposed to be in this moment. And most of all, that I'm abstinent. As long as I weigh and measure my food, put it on a scale every single day, and we're doing this all around Europe. I mean, tomorrow we're going on a train to Cartagena, and we're going to be there for a month. And, you know, there's a lot of planning and preparing, and we're worth it. And sometimes it's hard work. You know, we didn't have to do this. We wanted to do this because we want to, you know, I'm 65 now, and we want to do some of the things that we've always dreamed about doing. They don't just have to be dreams. We can do fun things, and we can have a wonderful life. And we can do it abstinently, because GreySheet abstinence is doable under all circumstances. It is possible. We don't have to just, you know, stay home and hunker down and be miserable and eat, you know, healthy foods. You know, we can eat amazing foods. We can live beautiful, exciting lives. It all depends on how much you want to put into it, you know. And I just feel grateful, and I feel grateful to have a supportive partner here that you know, we're both a lot alike, and we wanted to do something, travel, and I can't believe that we're doing it. And I have my sponsor, you know, right with me the whole time. You know, we're in communication every day. And you know, if I didn't have all of you in meetings on Zoom, it wouldn't be possible. I just am so grateful. And I'm so grateful, especially to all of you in this community. And Jami was amazing yesterday. She took us out sightseeing, in addition to all the work she was doing for this birthday party. I'm still amazed that she took 3 hours out of her day to do that. And I just want to thank you all, and I will pass. Sorry if I took too long.